respected brothers, esteemed sisters, respected Maulana Ismail Alham, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wassalatu wassalam ala Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad wa ala Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad wa barik wa sallam. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us peace and to grant us knowledge and understanding. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for us but not make it difficult. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, often in his addressing to the believers, often emphasized on the importance of becoming a muttaqin. But who are the muttaqin? The muttaqin are the ones who have taqwa. And to have taqwa is to have fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or to have consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in one's heart and in one's mind. There is a hadith narrated by Abu Hurairah where he said, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he was asked about for which do the people of Jannah be admitted in to the most. Meaning, for what do the people of Jannah be admitted in for the most. And he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam replied with, they are the people, or they are the ones who have good character, and they are the ones who have taqwa, fear of Allah, consciousness of Allah. And then he was also asked, for which do the people enter the fire of hell, Jahannam? And he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam replied with, they are the ones who their mouths and their private parts. So he says their mouths and their private parts. What does he mean by this, by their mouth and their private parts? Well, a person's mouth can be derived from bad attitude, speaking badly towards others, ill manners. A person's private part can be committing acts which go against the rulings of Islamic law, and so on. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 131, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the believers, He's addressing the believers, and when He says, we have warned the people before you, meaning the people of the scriptures, and we have warned you to be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For even if you do not be mindful of Him, even if you ignore Him, remember that everything in the heavens and everything in the earth belongs to Him. So what did Allah say? Allah says, be mindful of Him, and even if you ignore Him, everything belongs to Him. And verily He is self-sufficient, most praiseworthy. Meaning Allah is self-sufficient, He doesn't need anything from us. But what is He doing? Reminding the people to be mindful of Him. And to be mindful of Allah is a characteristic of having taqwa, to have consciousness. According to Sharia and many Islamic scholars, many Muslim scholars, they have described taqwa as having three main types of taqwa. So a person can have three types of taqwa. One, a person may have a very high level of taqwa. And this is the taqwa that every Muslim should strive to have. It's the taqwa of al-muttaqin, the ones who are the prophets, the companions of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the wali of Allah, or the spiritual shaykh. So, what are the characteristics of a person who is a muttaqin? They are the ones who have clear belief in the unseen, meaning that they have belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have belief in His angels and the prophets too. He is the person, or he is the one whom prays all of his salah on time, properly, and with sincerity. 3. He is the one who believes in the Quran, who was revealed, or which was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he believes in also the scriptures or the other books which were revealed to the past prophets, such as Prophet Isa alayhi salam, Prophet Musa alayhi salam. And a main or an important point is that a person or a characteristic of the Muttaqin is that they are the ones who believe in the hereafter. They believe in the hereafter. And this is something that we should take in, because in order for the reason why we do everything, we do it for Allah, we do it for Allah's pleasure. So we can obtain Allah's mercy and obtain Allah's forgiveness. So, but what is the reward derived from Allah's mercy, from Allah's forgiveness? Jannah. And that's what every Muslim wants. Every Muslim wants Jannah. I don't think anyone wants Jahannam. So that's the high level of Muttaqin. These are the pious ones, and the ones who are the most noble in the sight of Allah possess this type of taqwa. There is the second type of taqwa, which is a low level of taqwa. This is where a person stays away from any type of association with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of worship or in terms of idolism. And a person should have this level of taqwa if he wants to stay on the path of basic Islamic ruling and basic Islamic understanding. Then there is the moderate level of taqwa. And this level of taqwa is where a person has enough taqwa where they stay away from sins. So they stay away from the major sins, the minor sins, and the bad sins. So they stay away from anything that could make them lose that consciousness or that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a person wants taqwa, but why? What are the benefits of having taqwa? The benefits a person can get from having taqwa is a person will gain love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They will gain love for Allah. They will also gain a closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when a person has love for Allah, they won't want to lose that love. So because they don't want to lose that love, they avoid committing sins, or they avoid committing major or minor sins, which will take away from that which they have, that taqwa in their hearts. So a person should strive to achieve a level of taqwa which will never be on par of the prophets or of the companions, but we should try or to strive to at least attain something close to that. So a person may say, how do I gain taqwa? How do I get taqwa? How do I get this closest to Allah? Well, the best way of asking or the best way of getting something from Allah, and the best way of getting anything is to make dua, to supplicate, to ask. Because when you ask and you ask in prayer, you cry and you really want it, you really ask Allah for it, you may get it. And if you are sincere in what you ask for, because a lot of people say, I keep on asking Allah for this, or asking Allah for something, and I'm not getting it. Asking Allah for a good job, or asking Allah for something, like let's say a car, or a house, or a wife, something you're asking Allah for, and you're not getting it. But what people fail to realize is, am I being sincere when I ask Allah for it? Or am I having other thoughts whilst I ask Allah for it? Because you can't be asking Allah for something and having other thoughts whilst you are asking Allah for it. Because your main focus initially is to ask Allah for it, is to ask Allah for what you want. But somewhere along the lines, in your mind, you branch off from that unknowingly. So a person should try his best that when he asks Allah for something, to be sincere, to really fall onto Allah and really ask from their heart and sincere. And when a person can be sincere, tears will flow from her eyes. You will see it will happen. So back on what I was initially talking about, a person who has taqwa. Taqwa is something that it is a fundamental of a Muslim, and the righteous and the pious are the ones who have it. And every Muslim should strive to have it. No matter how old you are or how young you are, you should always strive to have this level of taqwa in yourself. And even if you cannot get to that level of the Sahaba or the level of the Prophet, then at least try to have a little bit. Even if you go to the moderate level, if you go to the low level, at least try to have some form of taqwa in your heart so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may and will see upon you because of this. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for us, to make us really take in what I have said here, and even if you may not understand, I ask Allah to make you try to at least take in some of the knowledge I said or something I said and apply it to your lives. And yes, it is hard. Yes, it's hard to do the right thing, or it's hard to do something certain times, but if we can all make the sincerity and the effort to try, then inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help us. Ameen. Ameen.